In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how we scale to over 63,000 per day with this one Facebook ads landing page system. You can see here over 63,000. Just to show you, I'll go here, hit a refresh for you. This was literally yesterday from the day I'm recording this video. And there you can go just to show that that's real. So this is probably one of the most underutilized or underlooked at strategy systems, whatever you want to call it, in Facebook ads that people can take right after this video and go 2-3x their spend if done properly. So I'm gonna walk you through it. Firstly, I wanna go over two key components, and this is what makes Facebook scale and why this system actually works. The first here is creative diversity, right? You've probably heard this term, creative diversity. However, most brand owners think this is just about creatives, which is just not true. In reality, there are many, many more ways to make your account more diverse, right? And why do people want to make their account more diverse, or why do people preach this? Is because more diversity in your ad account equals more scale and more efficient. Right? Because if we have photos and videos, not everyone just likes videos. Some people resonate with photos better, or GIFs, or different landers, or different angles, or different types of content creators, different actors, different formats, right? All these types of things in your that you should be testing in your ad account is a way of making your account more diverse. All right, that gets you into all these different pocket audiences, which I'm trying to explain here. Right? This is why diversity actually works. So let's say this is the entire Facebook market, right? And this light blue circle here is the target audience that you're actually trying to go for. Right? That's what you're trying to go for. These red circles are what you actually may be hitting, right? Let's say you really crush one ad angle, you're getting this part of your market, which is probably a lot smaller, right? Let's just, for example, that's that. Then you have a different angle that's picking up this, then a different angle that's picking up this, and then maybe some different content creators that different people resonate to, male, female, different races, etc., and that picks up this, right? Let's just say that that's the case for this example. By doing this, right, and by making your account more diverse, you get into these different pocket audiences, which allow you to scale, right? Because you're increasing volume, because you're reaching a new audience or pocket audience that you didn't hit previously, okay? And so just like ad angles, right, landing pages with different messaging or formats do the exact same thing as just having different angles. Everyone wants to, test more ads, new angles, and that's very, very important, sure. But if you're all just selling this to the same, catch all PDP, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity there. Okay, so the second part here is a high converting funnel. Now, obviously, there's a lot more than just creative diversity and a high converting funnel that make Facebook ads scale. But for this system, I'm going to show you with the landing pages. This is what really works. It's these two pieces that make this system so effective. So the second is a high converting funnel. The better your funnel converts, the lower your CPA, cost per purchase, and greater the ROAS at the same spend, right? It's not rocket science. You're spending 10K per day, spend doesn't change, traffic doesn't change, and you convert 3% versus 2% or 5% versus 3%. Your CPA goes down, ROAS goes up, and you can spend more without anything changing on the ads. However, once again, people don't put too much focus on this when they should be. Now, what is one of the most important parts of a high converting page? Message matching, right? Making sure that the messaging between the ad and the landing page is congruent, right? All the main benefits, features, the big promise, the guarantees, the CTAs you're using in that ad should be congruent with the page to the best of your ability. And the more congruent that is, the higher your conversion rate will be. So what you don't want to do is have an ad talking about weight loss, right? And because they're selling some sort of supplement, and then they go to the page and it's talking about, just fat burn. Even though it may be the same thing, the messaging needs to be congruent, right? The messaging and how you're talking, the benefits, USPs, features you're saying in that ad should translate over to the landing page, or else they're just going to be lost and then they're going to bounce, right? So if you have a high bounce rate, one of these things that you need to do is make sure your message matching is there, and it's super easy to do. And once again, is why the system works so well. Because the reason why the system that I'm about to show you is so powerful is because we kill two birds with one stone, essentially, right? This system allows us to dive further into new pocket audiences, scaling our ads, and increase volume, while at the same time increasing the conversion rate of our ads, right? We scale further and become more efficient at the same time. That's really the key to this, right? The system, we do two things. We get more diverse in the ad account, which scales us already and makes us more efficient. And at the same time, we're increasing our conversion rate of all of these ads that are making us more diverse, right? And call it an infinite scaling glitch, obviously not infinite scaling glitch, but it really, really does work really well. And that gets us results like this, right? Bao from 30K per month to over 500K, Resin from 200K to over 650K in 45 days, and Gabriel from 150K per month to over 660K per month in less than 60 days. I'm just showing you this to show that it works. Now, if you want access to all of my internal systems, I used to do over 15 million per year with my brand, and the same systems all these clients above used to get their results. Check out the link in the description. Now, with that being said, this system. So stage one, when to actually test these landers. This is stage 1 of the system. Every new or existing winning ad that you find, you want to create a new lander for. Existing ads is if you have winning existing ads that you haven't tested new landers for, you should use those right away for this process, okay? And every time you find a new winning ad. Now we do it this way, and I'm testing landers specifically for winning ads because one of the easiest ways to increase conversion rate that we just went over is to improve the message matching from your ad to the landing page, right? It's the easiest thing to do, which is why instead of just creating a big lander like most people do, and just split test our PDP versus new PDP, or PDP versus listicle, or listicle versus advertorial. With all of our traffic, you need to remember, not all of your traffic is seeing the same messaging. They're not coming from the same ad with the same angle, right? You have multiple angles in your ad account, or at least you should if you're at scale and you're scaling. And each of these have different messaging, different promises, different guarantees, different benefits, different USPs that you're focusing on. And if you're sending them to a page that once again isn't congruent, your conversion rate is less, okay? So I don't test these catch-all landing pages that I'm just taking all my PDP traffic with all my listicle traffic. Like, no, I'm not just 50-50 split testing like that. I'm taking an existing winning ad with specific messaging, with a specific angle, and I'm creating a specific landing page specifically for that ad, right? It's a lot of specificallys, but you get the point, because then the message matching will be so congruent that's almost hard for the conversion rate not to increase compared to wherever you're sending it right now. That's why we do it this way. And this is why the strategy really works, okay? So once again, your catch-all PDP isn't doing as well as it can be, for that exact reason I just walked through. So for every new ad you want to test a new lander for, focusing on message matching with that single ad directly, or variations as well, right? So if you have one winning ad, but you have 3-4 iterations that you've made that are also doing pretty decent, take those and test them as a lander as well, right? You can test multiples at the same time, but once again, we're trying to get as specific as we can. And you may say, well, Dante, how are we scaling broader and scaling if we're getting more specific? Well, once again, because we increase the diversity in the ad account, which scales into these new pocket audiences, and increase the conversion rate of our ads, which lets us spend more on them. And so what we're doing is we're really scaling broader by going more specific. And if you look at some of the top brands, 9-figure brands in the space, this is what they're doing. They have multiple funnels live for that exact reason, right? They're scaling by getting more specific, okay? So it sounds a little backwards, but that's how it works, and that's how it's working at the moment, and very well for us. So stage 2 is actually testing the landers, right? So take your ads that you want to test with the new lander and test it in a separate ABO landing page testing campaign. Set the budget to 20 to 50% of what the original ad is spending per day. I do this because yes, it's a winning ad, and you could just match the budget off the bat, but you don't know how the landing page will do. The reason for ABO versus just throwing it in your CBO is because we want to get the data on the page, because if it works, we can use the data to improve it, and if it's a loser, well, we still need the data to actually improve it so we can make it a winner, right? Keep in mind, just like creatives, you're not going to go to make 1-2 landers, test it, and it's going to take off and scale, right? It requires a lot of testing and a lot of iteration. So put the effort in, right? If you actually take this, but you put the effort in to test multiple and go through that process, this will work for you. But don't expect, like most people who are watching this, I'm calling you out, where you take one lander, you test it, it doesn't work, and you're like, okay, I'll just stick with my PDP, okay? You're not gonna go hit 100K days like that. So make sure you put the effort in when actually testing these pages. And 20 to 50%, because once again, it's a new page, there's still some risk there. So I set it to 20 to 50% of what the original ad in whatever campaign it's in is spending per day, right? So if your original ad to the PDP that's working, that's a winning ad, is spending $1,000 per day, you could set this original test off anywhere from like $200 to $500 a day, okay? Now, once the ad with the new landing page can spend the same or more than the original ad, you can now consider it a new winning page. What that means is, once again, if this ad that's for angle X is spending $1,000 per day to the original PDP, you create a new ad that you start off at $200 a day, and you can now scale it to $1,000 per day. With this new landing page, with the same angle X, you now have a new winning landing page for angle X, okay? That's how it works. So now that's a winner. You can take this ad and take it, the post ID, and put it in your scaling campaigns, right? Because you'll scale it further now, okay? That's how that works. Now, stage 3 is expanding into new pockets, right? So now that you have 2 winning versions of this ad in your scaling campaign, right? You should have the original lander and the new one. You will scale further and efficiency improves. So it's time to double down and scale further / expand into new pocket audiences. So let's say your new landing page that you just tested is a listicle, right? Not all of your audience who sees this listicle likes the listicle and will convert, just like not all of them who sees the PDP will like it and convert. So you take the winning messaging from this ad, right, and the new landing page that you found as a winner, and create other landers with the winning messaging that are different formats. This is how you get into these new pocket audiences, because just like different ad angles or different ad formats, not everyone relates to or will convert with page A or page B. They may need to learn more. They may want to learn a lot of educational stuff. They may just want to be to see more social proof. They may just want to learn a bit more about kind of the benefits and features, but not go that deep. And if you're missing these different funnels, different pages to do that, you're missing on a large part of the audience. So we take the winning messaging from that ad of angle X, that's the winning ad, and the new landing page, that new listicle that we found that works with it. And we could take this messaging and now apply it to an advertorial, a longer listicle, a new PDP with a new layout, a quiz funnel, etc., right? And this can be multiple variations within each of these, right? So if you have a listicle that works, you can go create a different listicle with a different format, or an advertorial, or a different advertorial with a different format, right? Point is, you can go deeper into each of these with different variations, etc., just like you do with ads. Now, you can also do the same with slightly different messaging, focusing on different USPs, benefits from the winning ad, right? So one way to go broad with these landing pages is different formats. And just like, once again, with ads, you can then take this winning landing page with this messaging and change up the messaging slightly with different USPs, benefits, features that you talk about in the ad. So just focus on a slightly different part, obviously keeping the core message the same because that's why it's working, okay? And that's how you expand to new pockets with these landing pages. So to review that really quickly, and we'll go into the results of this and what to do next as well. You test the landers when you have a new winning ad. So every new winning ad you find, create a new lander for. Find the new landers. It's a winner when it can spend the same amount as the original, okay? Put those in your scaling campaigns, and now you have two working landing pages, the original and the new one, for all ads under that angle, or for that winning ad specifically, depending on how specific you went. Now that you have that as a winner, go improve it further, split test it and improve it, expand into different formats with slightly different messaging, etc., and scale the landing pages out. Because what's going to happen, which you'll see, which we'll get into right now, is the results. So the final picture of how this looks when it all comes together is you now have 2 to 6 different variations of your winning ad, all to different landers, improving efficiency and conversion rate on the ad. This scales you massively, right? So instead of just one winning ad now, well, you now have that winning ad to a new lander, to the third lander, to the fourth lander, to the fifth lander, and you say, Don, this may be overkill. It works, right? Is it overkill? Maybe, but it works, okay? And so as you find new iterations of your winning ad that also work, you can now take those iterations and also send them to these winning landers. So you essentially take one winning ad and turn it into 2 to 6 with just a few clicks, right? Once the winning landers are found. So let's say you have angle X, and now you have 2 winning landers, and then you improve it, you test an advertorial, a listicle, a 5 reasons why, whatever it may be, right? Now let's say you have 4 working pages for angle X. Every new winning ad you have under angle X, you can now send to these 4 different pages. So you essentially take your one winning ad, you multiply it by 4, now you have 4 winning variations, all to different landers that attract a slightly different audience and convert slightly different audiences, right? So every winning ad you get with this angle now, you turn into 4. 4, that's going to scale you, okay? And then you do this with every single angle and new ad that you have winning in your ad account, and you can see how this scales exponentially. Because if you have 3 winning angles, every new winning ad you find, you create it or update this new lander, you turn that to 2 to 4 new landers, and now every single winning ad you have coming into your ad account, you turn to 4 to 6, right? Across every angle, across every winning ad in your ad account. And that's going to scale you massively, okay? Now, once again, as I've kind of just explained, this is a compounding effect that scales. Every new winning ad you find under X angle, you can now send to Y different landers, all attracting a slightly different audience, all converting a slightly different audience, okay? That's the magic of this. You essentially take one winning ad and you skyrocket it into 2 to 4 winning ads, every new winning ad you have, across multiple angles and getting specific. Once again, we're scaling by going more specific with the messaging, because the more specific with the messaging we can do, the more we can resonate with the audience and be congruent from that ad, right? If they see the ad like, oh my God, that's me, then they go to the PDP and it's kind of a little bit more broad and they don't feel as related to that, or they're not like, that's me. But if they take that same ad, they go to the very specific lander, they're like, oh my God, they understand me so well. They learn a bit more about the product. You have different landers showing more social proof, more educating them more, and a bunch of different formats. And once again, Facebook's going to retarget, and the same people will see these different landing pages, etc. They'll see all these different touch points, learn a lot, see a ton of social proof, and convert, okay? That's why this works. And it works very, very well, so don't take it lightly. So I hope you don't just watch this, but actually go do it, because once again, you see it works for me and many others. Now, if you're a brand doing over $1 million a year and you want to see how I build out these pages, the prompts I use, the tools I use, and exactly how I actually do this in a full one-on-one with me and training as well, where I walk you through the prompts I use, how I actually build up the pages very, very quickly in 45 minutes. You could do this process very quickly and recurring, because if you have a lot of winning ads, you do a lot of ad testing, you also need a lot of landing pages coming in and out to do this properly. And if you also want to work with me directly to turn your store into a long-term 8-figure brand, then hit the link in the description. I hope to see you there and I can work with you. If not, either way, take this, create the landers, and let's scale. I'll see you in the next one.